Alright guys, welcome back again. We're in today, but we're jumping like straight into the work because I went ahead and kind of got a head start. I didn't want to start recording and then get stuck and then start over, and either way it would have been a mess. So what I ended up doing today was getting a head start on getting these cats installed. But more than getting installed, the part that I was worried about was getting the old ones out. There are some kind of test pipes installed here. I think they're like some no-name off-brand. I'm really not sure. But I was worried about getting them out because the other day I went to go try to get one of the front bolts out, and the socket I put on it was kind of skipping, so I was worried about stripping it. But today I went ahead I sprayed some PV Blaster on the two that are facing out from the top of the engine on the passenger side, and I left it to sit for maybe 30 minutes or so and came back out. I hit it with 5 extension pieces all together to try to get it from the front of the engine bay, and I was able to successfully break 2 of them open. So since then I've gone ahead, I took out the intake side for the driver's side. Let's just flip this around. And I went ahead and hit some PV Blaster on the 2 top facing ones on this side. Now there is one on this side. I don't know how much this thing's gonna let you zoom. I know the focal point isn't that great. But there's one on this side. If you see, the steering rod is coming down. It's called steering rod, whatever. And it's kind of crossing in front of it. So that one's a little hard to hit, but I was able to catch it with the with this flex head that I have. But again, I tried doing it without the PV Blaster this first time, and it didn't budge. So while those are soaking on the driver's side, I'm gonna go ahead and get the new high flow cat setup. So what I ended up getting from Z1 were the Berk high flow cats. And the other thing I think I mentioned before as well was that I was having issues with codes for O2 sensors. So instead of reusing the old ones, I got a fresh pair. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed. I ran out to Harbor Freight and got a O2 tool. So I'm gonna go ahead, get these in, get them tightened while those bolts soak, and then I'll go ahead and get everything loose and start working on the installation of these new ones. Try to get y'all a good woman, yo, because she saw me out here in the garage sweating in this heat and just up and made me a smoothie, a nice ice cold smoothie. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take my mini extensions, as you can see here, and see if I can get those bolts loose. The bolts are supposed to be a 14, but for some reason I'm finding that the 9/16 fits it way better. I noticed the same thing when I was doing the exhaust, when I was changing out the Y pipe. But yeah, just a note, just something to think about. But let's see if we can get these things loose now. It's not happening, guys. And this thing is at like full power right now. Only other thing I could think to try is the breaker bar. All right, that did it. I was able to get it with the nice and trusty breaker bar. Still gotta try to get that bottom one though, which means I need to put the other swivel back on. All right, so I was able to get those two bolts loose, one with the breaker bar and the lower one with the breaker bar as well. I think I'm not 100% sure that it's loose or if the socket was spinning on top of it. I don't see any scratches or anything to indicate like it was stripping it or anything. So we'll find out more when I lift up that side and get under there. So what I'm going to do right now, since the passenger side is up, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the bolts out completely from the top here, and then we'll go under the car and we'll replace the side. Alright guys, so we're under the car now. You can see the bolts we were trying to loosen, so there's a really tight clearance, so there's not really much room for you to do much from underneath, which is why you have to use all those extensions and get them from the top of the motor up there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to use a wrench or something to hold it on one side while I loosen the nut on the other side. And then this one here is the only one I haven't loosened or touched, because this one is a stud, so it's just the nut that I have to get off. So I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can get done. Like always, I should probably raise the car up higher. Alright guys, there's not really enough room for me to work and kind of put the camera in a position where you guys can see what's happening, but so far we've got one out and we've got that one up there out as well. What I was able to do was use my swiveling wrench on this side while using a 3/8 socket on this side to actually get the nut off, and it came off pretty good. So next I've got to get that top one off. It looks like it's going to need a deeper socket than I have down here, so let me grab that and I'm going to get that off and we'll continue. But what I did forget to kind of point out is that the O2 sensor plugs are right here under the transmission as well. And something else that I noticed that is missing is a bracket that's supposed to be under here to support the cats. So the bracket is basically supposed to run across here, come across, and then there's a bracket on the cat that connects here, and it kind of just holds and supports it to keep it from sagging. So I'm gonna have to source that probably from the junkyard or from someone, I don't know, but I'm gonna want that in place just to make sure it's complete. But yeah, O2 sensor plugs are here. Gotta get these off from on this bracket too. So I'm going to continue. A lot of this is probably going to be off camera because, like I said, it's just not enough room for me to move around. Alright guys, so we got the test pipe out. This thing's looking pretty ugly, but whatever. That O2 sensor in there looks pretty burnt up too. But yeah, got some confirmation. Obviously looking at the plugs that blue, and while I was under I noticed that the driver's side is green, so I know I've got the right O2 sensor on the right side, because these do matter. They're not interchangeable. You can't put whichever O2 sensor on whichever side. So I'm gonna head back under the car. Well, first I'm gonna grab the right gaskets and bolts and stuff. I'm gonna head back under the car and get this thing into place, and then work on getting everything tightened up as well. Once this is up there, I'll give you guys an update, and then we'll work on getting the driver's side up in the air and swapping those out. Alright guys, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw this already, but I went to go get under the car and get the get the high flow cat in. And I took a gasket with me, and the gasket wasn't lining up, so I thought maybe I just had the wrong gasket, but the gasket lined up here. Went back to go check my order, and it turns out that I accidentally ordered high flow cats for an HR motor rather than for a DE, and you can see the flange size difference. So this one's pretty tiny in comparison. So yeah, so I had to reorder the high flow cats that I need for the DE motor. Hopefully I get those before the end of the week. But in the meantime, I've got to repackage these and get them back over to Z1. So this job is on pause till the correct stuff come in, and then at that point I'll go ahead and continue with getting them installed. So, you know, 2,000 years later.
2,000 years later.
All right, guys. So car's been on jack stands just yesterday. Yesterday's the only day that I kind of lost. I was able to catch Z1 on the phone at like 5 o'clock, right before they were closing. They closed at 6, but either way. And I was able to order the cats that I needed, and I returned the incorrect ones yesterday. But the new ones are out for delivery today, so I'm just waiting for them to get here. But while I'm waiting and the car is in the air, I figured I won't try to make use of the time and the position that the car is in. So I had ordered these return springs for the shifter from GK Tech. I'm gonna go ahead and install these while the car is up. It's a quick thing. Should be a quick thing to do. There's just 2 caps on either end of the trans. They actually send a replacement for each one. Once you pop those open, there's a spring. Their kit comes with a spring, 2 springs for each side, a softer one and a stiffer one. I'm gonna put the stiffer ones in. But essentially you open the caps, swap the springs out, throw some thread sealant on the new cap and screw that back in, and then do the same on the opposite side of the trans. So while this side is up, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the passenger side spring, and then when I'm doing the cats on the other side, on the driver's side, I'll do the driver's side spring. But that'll just be me making use of the time, so I'm not wasting it. But hopefully also FedEx comes sometime soon. But let's get started here. So went ahead and cool. So I think they're finally done. All right, so I just finished up with changing out those return springs in the shifter. Just want to give you guys an example of what this looked like. So this is let's start with the OEM one. So this is the factory one I just took out. You can see kind of how much I was able to compress that there. They're really soft. This is the softer spring of the 2 that came from the GK Tech pack. And you can see like I can barely like compress it. It's not the same. And the other one, obviously the one that I installed, was stiffer than this. So what I should be hoping for when I sorry for the distraction, I was just looking for the bag those were in. So essentially what I'm looking for when I get back in the car is a quicker or snappier return to neutral, and I believe also into gear. But yeah, we'll see. Either way, this is a almost 20-year-old spring, maybe more. Let's replace it with some fresh ones. All right, just to show you guys where those things went. Obviously there's one right here. You can see the black GK cap there. And the other one is on the opposite side of the trans. It was a little bit tighter to get to. But I don't know if you guys can see it. Right there. Driver's side was pretty easy, I guess because the springs are shorter. But passenger side I had to fight with. I actually had to use a pry bar to kind of hold the cap in place with some tension so that I could turn it into the trans. Just again because the newer spring is stiffer and newer, it just had more tension on it, so it was hard to get the cap on. But those are in, got some thread sealant on the caps, and we're all good. All right, so FedEx literally just got here. I just opened the box up, but finally got our cats in, and we got the right ones this time. And we got gaskets. Dang, the gaskets they sent last time were nicer. But we got gaskets, we got hardware, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these things set up, get them back how they were before, get the O2 sensors in them, and then start getting them installed, because I really want to get this car down on the ground today. I did find a new exhaust leak as I was taking the test pipe out, so hopefully I can get that gasket seated better. I saw somewhere someone put like they layered anti-seize on the gasket, like on the gasket surface, to help seal it. I don't know if that works or not, but I'll give it a shot. But yeah, let me get to it. Alright, so I went ahead and dumped the box out and found the actual gaskets that they sent. So I knew they sent some better gaskets than these things. I think these are the ones that Berk sends with their packaging, but they're like paper gaskets and flimsy. So we got some actual genuine Nissan gaskets to slap these on with. Got some more Z1 stickers and Berk stickers and stuff. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this done. Alright, so it looks like I have to reuse this bolt because the set that came with the cats doesn't seem like it's the same thread. It goes that far and then it stops. And obviously I'm not trying to strip anything, but I am going to go ahead and paint a little bit of anti-seize over this already rusted bolt, and hopefully next time it doesn't give me too much issue. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I don't know. Really what I should have done was get like some sandpaper or something and like clean that off, but we're not doing all of that right now. Oh, almost forgot the gasket. Alright guys, so I did put some anti-seize on the gasket just because, again, I don't know if that's going to work, if it's going to do anything to help seal this or not, but someone suggested it, so I'm giving it a try. Can't hurt, right? So far we've got one in nice and tight. Wasn't too bad to get to using a swivel on the socket. I was able to kind of hold it on that end with the wrench. Same for on top, I can hold it with the wrench, but I can't turn the wrench. But I was able to get the swivel and the socket over on this end to get to that bolt on that side. I haven't connected the Y pipe on this side yet. I'm going to go ahead and get the other cat in, get that settled in place and tightened up, and then I'll swing back around and then I'll do the Y pipe connections after. Alright, so got that all in and tightened up. I already plugged in one of the O2 sensors, the other one. Let me slide back onto this clip. Bring the light over. This is gonna slide on here, like so. And it's gonna go there. Alright, so we're all set. Next thing for me to do is just reconnect the Y pipe. Once that's on, we're done. I'm glad to have this over with. So let me go ahead and reconnect that. I'll probably do it off camera because I've got to get all these tools out from under here. But we'll go ahead, tighten everything back up, and that will be it for this install. Alright guys, officially done under here. Cats are in place. Sorry if this isn't the best view, it's kind of cramped under here, but cats are in on both sides, Y pipes reconnected, O2 sensors plugged in, so we are all set to drop this thing back down. Alright guys, the car is back down. Like I said, tomorrow I'll probably come in, get the intake back in properly, and we'll go ahead and give it a start, see how it sounds, see how it smells. I do want to take it around the corner a bit, give that shifter a fresh try with the new return springs in there, and I went and got a Broadway mirror. Whether it's real or fake, who knows, but I've always liked Broadway mirrors in my cars. Alright guys, so this is probably the longest gap I've had in recording, getting a job done on the car. Obviously I had that hiccup with having the wrong cats. That added 2 days on, and then I had kind of a busy Friday and weekend or whatever, so I didn't get to come back and put everything else back together to get the car started up. But as of right now, everything's looking good. Airbox is back in. I even went as far as since the intake was out, I took the math sensor and cleaned that out, so I don't know how dirty it was or wasn't, but figured I'd make use of it while it was out there. I did make a trip to the pick and pull, LKQ. Well, I don't know if it's LKQ anymore, but pick your parts, whatever. And I got a couple of things for the G. I found a coupe that was there, and I was able to find these shoulder clips for the seatbelt that were broken on the car. I don't know if you can see that there. So it actually goes there, but it's broken on both. I was actually able to find these, and these are actually pretty hard to find. So I'm glad I found those. I'm gonna clean them up and put them together. I actually found a couple bolts that I was missing from the engine bay and put those back in there. And I also got, so if you've been up close, you might have noticed like the window felt is missing from in between the door panel. So I was able to find those off of that same coupe. So I cleaned one up. I've got to finish cleaning up the other one because the windows were open, so dirt and rain and stuff got in the car. So I'm gonna finish cleaning those up. I'm gonna get those installed on the car as well. But yeah, I went ahead and I cleared the OBD2 code that I had for the O2 sensors. So I'm gonna go ahead. It's been a few days. The shifter feels crazy now with those new springs. I'm actually giving it a little bit of fight over. It actually feels kind of good. But yeah, hopefully the car starts because it's been a few days since I last started it. So I don't know how the battery is doing, but let's see. So took the car out for a drive to try to burn off some of the anti-seize, and I guess the gasket maybe even has some grease on it. I don't know, but it did stop smoking after a little bit, so everything should be good there. I'm not hearing any leaking as I'm driving, but two good things happened. One, not smelling any more of the fumes from the exhaust from having those test pipes there, so the cats are doing their job. And two, I don't want to say all of it, but some of the droning from the exhaust is gone, so I'm guessing some of the volume did come down. At idle, it sounds lower than it did, but the cold start still sounds just as aggressive, if that makes sense. So overall, I would say I'm happy with it. I was debating changing the exhaust. I'm still kind of on the fence, but it does sound better. Most of the concerns I have are probably more, I guess, performance driven. I don't know, like this is one of those HKS reps. I don't know if it's Spec D or if it's like some other eBay version of it, but I definitely want to have something on the car that has some sort of reputation to it. With that said, the GK Tech return springs feel amazing while driving. There's more resistance, but that resistance kind of adds into a more direct feel. I don't know if that makes sense, but a lot of what I'm saying probably doesn't make sense. Either way, I'm done for now. I'm glad this job is over with. I still got plenty of other stuff to do, plenty of other stuff coming up. But as of right now, we're closing up shop. I gotta clean up the mess that I made of tools everywhere, get everything back where it belongs, and make sure that I'm ready for the next thing that happens. Not quite sure what that's gonna be yet. I did order some new bulbs for the headlights, because with the 35% on the windshield, it's a bit harder to see at night, and I'm not sure that these bulbs have the best output. So that might be the next thing I do when they come. Hopefully they come sometime this week. I also got the aluminum, what is that called? Purge valve? Not purge valve, but bleeder valve from GK Tech for the car. And I'm not 100% sure when the last time was that this coolant was changed out, but I do know that the reservoir is empty right now because I checked it as I was putting everything back together. So I think I want to do a coolant exchange, change out the old stuff, put in some fresh coolant, and put in that new bleeder valve in there. The newer ones are aluminum. Either way, I'm running on because this will all be in future episodes. But either way, I want to thank you guys for sticking around through this one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, peace out, and God bless y'all.